You ever wake up to a knock on your door that just feels wrong? Like, not the neighbor dropping off a package, not the mailman, but something heavy, something that makes your gut twist before you even open your eyes? That's how it started for me, Mike Callahan, on a Tuesday morning in Willow Creek. My coffee still steaming on the counter when three sharp raps hit my front door. Boom, 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 like they were serving a death sentence. I'm a retired Marine commander, seen my share of bad days, but nothing prepped me for this. Some HOA goons in fake tactical vests, standing on my porch, demanding to take my son, Lucas, for what they called a safety evaluation. I set my mug down, the ceramic clinking once, and peered through the frosted glass. Three guys, tall, stiff, like they'd watched too many cop shows, black vests, cheap comms clipped to their shoulders, one guy clutching a clipboard like it was the Constitution. The leader, buzz cut so tight you could bounce a quarter off it, barked, "Mr. Callahan, open the door. We're here for Lucas, under Article 5.2b, Community Compliance." Compliance? I cracked the door, chain still on, and leaned in, my voice low, calm, the way you talk when you're sizing up a threat. "You got a warrant for that?" Buzzcut didn't flinch, just waved a piece of paper with a fancy HOA letterhead, no judge's signature, no seal, just bold print screaming Article 5.2b. I laughed, not because it was funny, but because it was absurd. That's not a warrant. That's a grocery list with attitude. Across the street, Diane Porter was watering her tulips, her tennis visor tilted just so, her stainless tumbler glinting in the morning light. She watched us, not staring, but watching, that half-smile of hers like she knew something I didn't. I'd seen that look before, officers in briefing rooms, thinking they'd cracked the code to chaos with a PowerPoint. The guy with the clipboard, buzzcut, leaned closer, his breath smelling like mint and bad decisions. "Non-cooperation will escalate to Phase 2, Mr. Callahan." I raised an eyebrow. "Phase 2? You boys practicing for a movie audition?" The stocky one behind him, all forearms and attitude principled, shifted his weight, his tongue pressing against his teeth, a telltale sign he was annoyed. The third guy, young, jittery, kept glancing at my door like he was measuring his escape route. I stepped out onto the porch, barefoot, hands loose at my sides, the way you stand when you're daring someone to make a dumb move. "Name my kid," I said. Buzzcut checked his paper like it held the secrets of the universe. "Lucas Callahan." My house was quiet behind me, the old hardwood creaking, the air warm with the smell of last night's pizza. Lucas was upstairs, probably still asleep, or pretending to be smart. Kid, 16, knows when to stay out of sight. I shut the door, soft, just enough to hear the latch click. "You're not cops," I said, my voice flat, like I was stating the weather. "You're not even close." Buzzcut puffed up. "We coordinate with local law enforcement. This is about your son's safety." I smirked. "You want to talk safety? Get off my porch before you trip on your own ego." They left, no fuss, no fight, just climbed into their unmarked black SU-tinted windows, no front plate, the kind of car that screams trouble, and rolled away smooth, like they'd rehearsed it. But that wasn't the end. That night, I found a notice taped to my door, duct taped, like a damn ransom note. Heavy paper, red ink, Article 5.2b violation, community disruption. A $100 fine, and in small print, continued noncompliance may trigger monitoring. Monitoring? In a neighborhood where kids ride bikes and the mail comes late on Tuesdays? My fingers shook as I peeled it off, not from fear, but from something hotter, something I hadn't felt since Fallujah. Lucas caught me, standing halfway down the stairs, his hoodie twisted, hair a mess. "Dad, what's it say?" I folded the paper, the crease sharp enough to cut. "Nothing worth reading, kid." But his eyes said he wasn't buying it. The next few days were a slow burn. Sarah, my wife, sharper than a bayonet, kept track. Fourth notice in a month. First was the grass being half an inch too long. Then the mailbox shade was non-compliant. Then the trash can sat out past 6 p.m. Now this, Lucas's name in bold, like he was a problem to be solved. Sarah's eyes burned into me at breakfast, her fork pushing cold eggs around. What's 5.2b, Mike? I didn't have an answer, not a good one. And Lucas, pushing his soggy cereal away, muttered, I didn't do anything. That hit me harder than the notice. He was 16, not a kid, not a man, caught in some game we didn't sign up for. Then came the real kick. Nate, my old squad mate, the kind of guy who lives on Red Bull and paranoia, showed up with a flash drive that changed everything. He plopped his laptop on my kitchen table, cracked a can, and pulled up files that made my blood run cold. Photos of Lucas at the bus stop, me pacing the driveway at midnight, even one of him asleep, shot through a crack in his curtains. Reports labeled him Subject 814C, flagged for social withdrawal and maladaptive environment. Me? Guardian Callahan, combat history, volatile, resistant. It wasn't just an HOA. It was Unitas Risk Analytics, some shadowy firm out of Dubai by way of Connecticut, running a surveillance op on my family, calling Lucas a blueprint for some behavioral model. Nate scrolled through contracts, grants, fake charities Harmony Alliance, Suburban Futures, all funneling cash to Unitas for one thing: control. That night, 3 a.m., they came for Lucas. Not a knock, this to me a back door breach. I heard his scream, raw, angry, not scared, and I was moving before I could think, barefoot, down the hall. One guy in black gear had Lucas by the collar, dragging him like a sack. I hit him like a freight train, shoulder to ribs, sent him into the drywall. The second came at me with a knife, grazed my arm hot, sharp sting. I kicked a chair into his knees, tackled him through the kitchen table, glass shattering like my patience. The third was bigger, calmer, a pro. He landed a punch to my ribs, fire exploding in my chest, but I saw Lucas's photo pinned to his vest, like a trophy. Something snapped. I drove him through the wall, plaster raining, my fists a blur until he stopped moving. Not dead control, not chaos. I ripped the phone off him, used his thumb to unlock it. One message, exfil scheduled. Guardian interference likely. 3 o'clock. They weren't just after Lucas. They were after me. Cops showed up, twitchy, one officer eyeing my bloody knuckles. You did this. I tossed him the phone. Check it. He scrolled, face going pale. Phase 3, Guardian removal. Lucas stepped up, voice steady. They were taking me. He stopped them. Sarah, fierce as ever, added, if he hadn't, you'd be zipping up my kid in a bag. The cop lowered his cuffs. The HOA meeting was a circus, every chair filled, phones filming, tension thick as motor oil. Diane sat at the front, pearls gleaming, clipboard ready, her smile like she'd already won. I walked to the podium, no notes, just my phone, and played her voice for the room. Proceed, keep it clean. He's exhausted. They all crack. Silence hit like a grenade. Diane blinked, smiled wider. Out of context, she said, smooth as silk. I cut her off. Which part? Crack or clean? I dropped Nate's flash drive on the table, let it clatter. Emails, votes, money trails, all tied to Unitas, a firm that turns families into data points. The crowd stirred, phones zoomed, and an old vet in the back stood up, voice like gravel. My granddaughter got a letter like that, Diane. You sent it. The room turned on her, votes flew, Diane was suspended, her vice chair quit, and their funding got frozen. But that wasn't the end. Nate found their data hub, a warehouse 2 towns over, cold as a morgue, servers humming like a nightmare. We went in at 3 a.m. Me, Sarah, Lucas, Nate through a water shaft, cameras blinded just long enough. Inside, it was a mausoleum of black towers, screens showing families, kids, lives diced into numbers. Lucas's face glowed on one, a hologram labeled Adaptive Model 814C. He stared, whispered, they built a ghost. We plugged in the drive, alarms screamed, guards came fast. I dropped 2 with chokes and zip ties. Sarah took the 3rd with a rifle strip, cool as ice. She caught my look, smirked. What? You think I married a Marine to sit soft? We hit 80% upload, files streaming to servers worldwide, untouchable. A bruiser guard came at me, trained, brutal. We traded blows, my ribs howling, until Sarah cracked his skull with a fire extinguisher. We set charges, sprinted out as the core blew, towers crashing, flames lighting the desert sky. Lucas hit the final key date alive, no turning back. By noon, the leak was everywhere, news tickers screaming Project Sparrow leak, anchors choking on terms like Guardian removal. Diane's voice, looped over clips of her pruning tulips, became a meme, her smile a punchline. Neighbors stopped whispering, started nodding. Mrs. Carver, a grandmother with a spine like steel, stood in my driveway and shouted, "He saved his boy. Don't forget it." But Unitas didn't fold. They rebranded, shifted, like roaches after a light. Nate vanished to Seattle, left a note. Watch the schools. They want the kids. A week later, a call came, block number, voice cold as a rifle barrel. Phase 4 wasn't hers to approve. We don't clean messes, we bury them. Click. That wasn't Diane's petty HOA game. That was military, precise, promising. Lucas doesn't flinch at doorbells anymore, answers them calm, steady. Sarah sleeps deeper, the bat by her bed gathering dust. Me? I don't sleep much. Never did. That call replays in my head, a drumbeat. We bury them. Unitas wasn't scared of the leak, they were scared I was still standing. Phase 6, national rollout, is out there, another knock waiting for another dad, another kid flagged as unstable. I sit by the window at night, watching sprinklers, mailboxes, kids on bikes. It looks normal, but it's not. Lucas asked me once, in the garage, touching his bike like it belonged to someone else, "Can I ever be normal again?" I told him the truth. Normal's overrated. You'll be ready. That's better. He nodded, almost smiled. Sarah doesn't ask me to promise it's over, she knows better, just asks where the fight's coming next. I don't know yet, but I'm watching, not just for Lucas, for every kid on their list. So, here's my truth. I'm not done. Unitas can hide behind new names, new shells, but I see their board, their moves. And I'm not alone. The war hit my doorstep, and I fought back. It might hit yours next. When it does, don't freeze. Stand up. Truth lands like a hammer, and it's the only weapon we've got. What would you do if they came for your family? Drop it in the comments, let's hear your fight.